Long down the right side. Caught. Touchdown, Washington State.
He is there. Booby. 60, long three.
What a catch by Phillip Bobo.
The Palouse is going to pop.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the FieldHouse Report. As always, I'm Drew Kalahar alongside Cougar Carlson. Happy Thanksgiving, brother. How you doing?
Happy Thanksgiving. It's good to be with you. I'm doing well, man. I'm here actually in Coeur d'Alene this evening at my in-laws' house and just enjoying some family time. So how about you?
I'm hanging in there. This week of Cougar sports has been difficult, but being around family, and then we got more family coming in for the game this weekend after Thanksgiving. It's going to be really refreshing, and hopefully we can flush all these bad vibes and move forward and get to a bowl game, huh?
That's the idea. Yeah, certainly. And I love Jimmy Rogers' commentary this week where he's like, I expect to win both games. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
I still love this guy. I still want him to be our coach, and I'm still excited that he is. So, yeah.
Love it. Well, before we get too deep into it, we do got to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors, starting with Neill's in Pullman. The next time you're in Pullman, hopefully this next weekend for the Oregon State game, make sure you stop by Neill's. They got coffee, ice cream, breakfast sandwiches, you name it. But the thing that I am the most excited about right now is all the really unique Cougar gear they have. So if you stop by, you're not going to see this stuff at the Crimson and Gray store or the Bookies. This is Neill's specialty items. So be sure to stop by downtown Pullman when you get a chance. They were gracious hosts to us last week or 2 weeks ago when we had the live with Ryan Leaf. So yeah, I just can't thank them enough for being sponsors this season.
Yeah. And our other sponsor is Williams Sauce Company. If you guys haven't heard, Devin Williams is running a current promotion right now where 50% of his proceeds are going back to the Cougar Collective to invest heavily into our athletic program and ensure that we can keep much of this roster intact and really build out our, our Cougar Collective fund. But again, Williams Sauce Company, Devin Williams is the guy. It's great. I am going to hand deliver Drew's a sauce this weekend when I see him in Pullman. So he's finally going to get it back.
There we go. I'm looking forward to it. Although after this weekend, I might be pretty full. We're smoking a turkey on Thanksgiving, and then pregame meal is leftover turkey noodle soup. So that we should be. Yeah, awesome. You got to stop by and get a bowl before the game, Darren.
I shall. Me and my dad will be sure to join you.
It'll be good. Hopefully it'll warm us up before we got to go out there and brave the elements. It sounds like it's going to be 36-ish, 37 degrees at kickoff and raining or snowing 25. Or something.
Is it snowing?
Yeah,
it did not. No, I didn't prepare for this one.
Yeah, bring it. The precipitation percentages at this point are like lower. Like it's like 40 or 50%. So.
Oh, I thought it was 10%. I just looked the other day. I'm like, oh, crud.
Yeah.
All right.
So hopefully we'll see. It's bound to change in the Palouse. You never know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll start out with Cougar Hoops. They finished fourth today in the Maui Invitational, falling to Seton Hall 75-61. They beat Chaminade in the first round, but then lost to ASU in a barn burner in the second game, giving up 100 points to the Sun Devils and falling. I think the final on that one was 100-94, I believe.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get it done. Just your initial thoughts on hoops so far this season.
A lot of work needs to be done. A lot. Offensively, defensively, we need a lot of work, and we just need to keep at it. And that's me putting it with such a positive spin that it's hurting my mouth to just spit those words out right now.
Yeah. Well, good for you that you can stay positive, because I am not going to stay positive. This team and the state of the program really worries me. I think what David Riley took over, now he lost most of his roster, but he took over a program that had expectations to be in the NCAA tournament again. And unfortunately, I feel like we regressed as the season went on last year, and some of that had to do with injury. But you saw us gradually get worse and worse and worse. And especially when it came to team chemistry, I felt like we just really struggled down the stretch. And this year we've just come out, and it's a combination of a lot of things, but the biggest reoccurring trend seems to be just poor defense. And it's not, I mean, I feel like we are getting out schemed in a lot of games, but it's also just the fundamentals, how you close out, how you rotate over, it's just a lot of getting dribbled around in one-on-one situations. And it's really frustrating to watch. I mean, Chaminade, I'm probably saying that wrong. Chaminade. I'll say Chaminade. Chaminade pretty much for the whole first half did anything they wanted to. I mean, every single time they ran one of their basic offensive plays, somebody was wide open. And I just don't know. I mean, obviously, it's not the most talented roster we've ever had, but it feels like the root cause of things right now is coaching. And we'll see how the season goes, but I don't
I would
have
say
my
I have
hopes
to
up.
see more heart from our players too, and that's something that I feel like our players need to show more heart, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's just absent.
Yeah, I thought we actually played pretty hard in this Maui Invitational. I was proud of that, and we did see some guys come to the forefront that can really play. Ace Glass had 40 points against
Right.
ASU. That's a
Right.
freshman record. I think that's the most points scored by an individual in the Maui Invitational since 2005. So he is a dude. If you are wanting to donate to the Cougar Collective and try to keep one guy around, he is absolutely somebody that we could build a team around. Now, today, it felt like our whole offense was passing the ball and then everybody stand around and wait for him to do something awesome. And he just looked gassed. He played just about every minute of that ASU game.
Right.
And he just, he still did some great things, but he just didn't quite look like the player that he did
Yeah.
in that game. So I have to pose the question. I know it's early on, but this is what these podcasts are all about, right? Overreactions. If Riley doesn't turn around for the rest of the season and we see the same trends continue, is he on the hot seat come season's end?
He's on the hot seat for next season. I don't think you can jump out 2 seasons in, and particularly in the status that we're in. I think we'd have to wait for some of that PAC money to come through, and we'll have to wait for season 3. And then season 3, we can see what he does. Plus, he'll have a little bit more resources behind him in season 3.
Yeah.
And right now, the trend, obviously, for Coug Collective is moving in a positive direction. So I think there's always like the, fight or flight. Like you're just sitting there, like waiting for, or like, the world is caving in because something bad's happening. Like we can't always respond that way because a lot of Cougs on the message board, they're sitting there saying, well, Jimmy Rogers this, Jimmy Rogers that, or this season isn't what it's supposed to be. Can you really name a defense that's done what it's done this year and still, and I know that this is off topic from basketball, but
Yeah.
can you name a defense that's done what it's done? Do you really think that that's like the root cause? Like there's more to it than that. And I think there's certainly more to it, whether it is talent, whether it is coaching, changes definitely need to be made and
Yeah.
significant.
Yeah.
But I leave that to Riley and his staff, obviously, to do. But I think in year 3, if this continues, very early on, he could be, early elimination for him if it continues third year for sure.
Yeah. Well, that first half against Chaminade had me Googling how much his buyout was. And hear me out here. I am not pro fire coaches as soon as they start to struggle. I'm really not.
Yeah.
This is just something that I've always felt like his system. I've worried about it having success in Pullman. What's worked for us in the past is coaching staffs that really preach defense, shorten the game, limit possessions, and win games in rock fights, basically. And I've
Yeah.
yet to see this style of basketball be successful in the Palouse. And I'd love, love, love to be wrong. But the direction of the season has me pretty nervous. And I feel like unless we improve towards season's end, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing who else is out there for us to get to lead this program heading into the new Pac-12
Right.
conference.
Right. I don't
Lots to
necessarily
debate.
want to, I don't
Lots to
necessarily
see.
want to just jump the ship so quickly, but I can see where you're coming from.
Absolutely. Well, we'll shift gears now to the football program, who lost in a close one at James Madison this past weekend. Another close loss on the road for Jimmy Rogers and the boys, who moved to 1-5 now on the road this season, and another stagnant second half for the offense. Just your initial thoughts on the game on Saturday.
Initial? Geez. I mean, I could probably talk the rest of this segment. The second half is just always that bitter frustration and more
Yeah.
so offensively.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that is what seems to be the case through each of these really tough losses. And
Yeah.
so we really have to, I was asked earlier, by, someone that was, listening to the show when we did our live in the parking lot for Apple Cup. And they asked, how come you always talk about the defense? It's like, hello, there's a reason. Like, the defense is that
Yeah.
good, that stout. And this offense, it kind of flutters. It just goes like this. It's not consistent enough to make me so excited to continually watch it. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they need to sit there and go score 40 points a game like, the Mike Leach era, but be consistent enough to score 7, 10 points as many as you can every quarter. You only scored 3 points in the second half. And
Yeah.
so that's just I know it's initial. I went on a tangent there, but
No, it's
whatever.
good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely frustrating to see us not close out games. It feels like our offense comes out into the game with a pretty good game plan. Usually is executing at a high enough level
Mhm.
to score a few points and put us in the lead, but it feels like whatever adjustments the defense makes in the second half, we don't really have an answer for. And we'll get into this debate later about, is it the offensive coordinator? Is it personnel issues? What's going on? It seems like Coug Nation has been pretty split on that debate depending on who you talk to. But regardless of whose fault you feel like it is, we look predictable. We look out
Yeah.
of sync, and we look like we're playing slow, and particular in the second half. And yeah, like I said, you can sit there and you can figure out where the best place to point the fingers is, but it's really frustrating to watch, especially when you're seeing that effort out of our defense. I mean, outside of the two big plays that they had, they just about shut down JMU, an offense that had scored 56 points a week earlier against Appalachian
Right.
State. So
Right.
yeah, for as frustrating as that offense is, the defense is really encouraging, and I do think that that's something that we're going to get to see a lot of in this era of Cougar football. It's not just a fluke.
Yeah.
This system is good, and we're going to strangle people like that in most games.
Yeah, and I think obviously you continue to show what Jimmy Rogers does with the roster. That's certainly is a lot of what, some leftovers, certainly some transfers, certainly some of his South Dakota State. You have some of these players, if we can retain them and they come back next year in the new Pac-12, they're going to be able to hit the ground running pretty hard. But that's where we also need to get back into the Cougar Collective and make sure that people show up and show out for that. Shout out Cougar Collective. Make sure you get in $18.90 a month. Let's do it, folks.
That has been trending in the right direction lately. I'm hoping we can keep the momentum going. And really, I put down in our notes here, like, for as frustrating as the season has been in some ways, as a whole, I would consider the season as, if we can beat Oregon State on Saturday and go to a bowl game, I would consider that a successful year one of Jimmy Rogers, given the roster turnover, given the fact that it's an entirely new staff. That feels pretty good if we can find a way to get into a bowl game, and especially if we can play well in that bowl game, which we haven't gotten a chance to see the Cougs play with a regular roster in a bowl game in quite a while.
Yeah, I think the situation is such that, I think I went 9-3, you went 8-4 for our season prediction.
I was just talking about that, actually. I was like, man, we shot for the moon there. But okay, if a few of these games, if we score literally 5 more points in almost all of our losses,
If
you take out UW and North Texas. Yeah, I mean, we're right there at our.
That's 7 between 2 games, then we would need 11, and then we would need 15 points. We need 2 scores and our 2 TDs, an extra point, and a 2-point conversion
Yep.
across 4 games or 4 or 5 games there.
Yeah,
You got Oregon State. You got Oregon State. You've got
Ole Miss.
You've got Virginia. You've got, what's the other one? James Madison.
Yep.
So those 4 games, all 15 points.
Yep.
15 points, and we win the game on all of them.
Yeah.
And the opportunity was always there. And the reason was because of our defense. So
Yeah.
that being said, yeah, I still consider the season an actual like smashing success in a certain way. I know Cougs always want to say, well, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, and we didn't win. Yes, the coaching staff, that's their job to focus on winning. But I still think you have to see what the possibility is here under Jimmy Rogers. If you're not convinced just because of a minute loss here or there, then
Yeah.
I don't know what to convince you. You have the most coveted coach in America in Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and we took them to the freaking brink. To the
Yeah.
brink.
Yeah.
With only giving up 24 points. Mind you, they went up against a great defense in Oklahoma and gave up, 32 or 36 points?
Yeah.
Oklahoma
Well,
gave up that many
they put
points to them.
they put up 35 the next week at Georgia. The next
Right.
week after they played us. So
I know, but this is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So people need to
yeah.
be quiet. Okay. I'm not going to tell the other word, but y'all need to just be quiet and pay attention.
Yeah.
Stop focusing on just the results. Look at how the results in comparison to the rest of the entire country, the likes of Kirby Smart, couldn't hold down Ole Miss's defense, 24 points, but we did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something we talked with Ryan Leaf about a little bit last 2 weeks ago, is that everybody remembers the 1997 run and that Rose Bowl team, but what a lot of people don't remember is that 96 team that was right there in game after game after game and just couldn't find a way to seal it in the end. But you could
Right.
see that season, the bones and the structure of what would be that Rose Bowl team the following year when they just got a little bit older, a little bit stronger, a little more comfortable in the system.
Right.
And we were pretty unstoppable. So on top of all of these factors that we're talking about, who would have ever predicted that this schedule would be as hard as it is? I mean, holy smokes. When we were making our picks at the beginning of the year, I was expecting a 500 Virginia team. I was expecting a James Madison team that probably was decent, but not college football playoff contention good.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking pretty much San Diego State's much better than I anticipated. I mean, you could go on and on and on here, but man, a pretty stinking tough schedule, all things considered, that you might not have thought that way on paper going into the season.
Well, think about this too. With all the coaching openings, all those teams that we've lost to in close losses, James Madison, head coach, considered for another big time job, been on the short list for UCLA and a couple others. You've got, I think, Virginia's coach has also been on a short list. And then, of course, Lane Kiffin himself. So, what is it that people are missing again? If you are in these message boards, and you hear this or you see this clip and you're focused on the idea that we haven't amounted to anything just because we've missed a few games, then you've literally lost sight of what it is to be in a competitive college environment. We're competitive with one of the lowest NILs in all of college football, and we're sitting here competing against major teams. Okay.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I'm sorry. Wake up.
I think there's just so much to look forward to on the football side of things. Going into the new conference, there's going to be some awesome regional rivalries. I mean, we've talked about it a lot in the past, but I really am excited about the direction of this program, and we'll as we move through this episode, we'll get into a little bit of the offensive struggles some more, like we discussed. But we'll jump now into player of the game. I can start. Kirby Voorhees, again, a guy that if you want to donate to the Cougar Collective and try to convince somebody to stick around, that man was doing it all, and he was doing it a lot of the times when there wasn't much of a hole. So jumping over people, running through people. I really think if he comes back next year and we're able to patch a few holes on that offensive line, we could see him be really, really special.
I'm going to give an honorable mention to Woods, the backup running back for this game.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job of obviously filling in, was able to do some good pass protection as well as kind of find some holes. I mean, he spun through different tackles, got a couple extra yards here and there, and those little things add up. So I'm going to give him the honorable mention. I'll let you have the player of the game, but I think what he did in those moments and extending drives and helping us get that 1, 2, 3 yards made a huge difference in the game. It wasn't big numbers, neither was Voorhees, but they were substantial plays, or they carried through for substantial plays for the game.
Yeah, and I'll give one more runner-up too. Caleb Francel making the interception, only the third interception for the Cougs this season, but just an all-effort play with the ball tipped up in the air, diving, laying out all the way to make the pick. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. And nice to see our defense kind of make one of those opportunistic plays there, right? Like tip ball, go get it. And he did just that and wouldn't be denied, which you'll love to see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we will dig now into the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll start out with the good. Darren, Feel free to take a stab at this.
I think the good is just that we've had, how do I say this? I think the good is, I mean, the running game is there. I think, defense certainly is there. It's hard to just pinpoint one thing that I'm like overly excited about from this game. I don't want to say that it was a terrible game by any stretch. Just, I guess offensively, even though you're disappointed, we got more first down conversions than they did. And we also did better in opportunities on fourth downs with 2 out of 3. So, yeah, I mean, it's one positive to look. I don't know if I have something that's like overtly like stands out as good. So,
Yeah. I'll just go back to the defense again. I mean, just keeping that JMU offense in check. I don't know about you, but I wasn't all that impressed with James Madison's offense. I'm guessing it's partially because our defense played really well, but I have a hard time believing that if they do get into the college football playoff, that they're going to have too much success against the likes of the defenses that they'll be facing in those games.
right, Big Tens, everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all shakes out, but I would almost rather see North Texas get that last college football playoff bid. Just because I feel like their offense is a little bit different. It might be something that those teams aren't quite ready for. But yeah, going back to it, the defense, again, stopping that offense for the most part. I think James Madison had a total of 319 yards on the day, and at least half of those came on 2 plays. So you take those 2 plays out, and both those plays were just guys not doing their job, basically. One was on that fake QB power where he stepped forward and then pulled back and lobbed it down the field. And then the other was the big run up the middle for them. But you take those 2 plays out, and it's a whole different game. And so I'm still proud of the overall defensive effort. And I think they'll have a big statement to make here against Oregon State coming up. Moving on to the bad. I can start off with it. We're going to basically say the same thing. Just the offense. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I felt like we ran a play that they just looked like they knew we were going to run it before we even snapped the football, especially when it came to our play action. On a lot of those Zevi rollouts, they just happened to bring pressure right off the edge to where Zevi was rolling to. And I can't help but feel like especially in second halves, our offense is just too predictable and we're not throwing.
Vanilla. It's very vanilla.
Yeah, we ran the ball up the middle so many times. And
We
in
need to
third
get
and
some
long,
chocolate swirls in there. I'm just, I don't
exactly.
know.
Yeah, Rocky Road or something. It's just
Exactly. Yeah. Give me some 31 flavors Baskin Robbins status. Not a sponsor.
Ferdinand's Cougar Tracks.
Ferdinand's. Not yet.
Cougar Tracks. Exactly. Yeah, but so this is where the debate comes in, right? Like, are we vanilla because our offensive coordinator is bad? Are we predictable because our offensive coordinator is bad? That's
I
kind of
had a
been the
hard
debate.
time understanding why you were running up the middle when you lost your center earlier in the game as much as you did. And I was just really not certain as to why those play calls. I would have been getting Zevi more outside the pocket, or I would have been doing some kind of option runs with maybe like a tight end crossing over the middle and Zevi kind of like looking across and being able to have like 2 different options, one right here, one with the,
Yeah.
quick 5-yard, in or out or whatever, and something.
There's
that
no
Zevi can
intermediate passing game. There's no
None.
intermediate passing game. And
Yeah.
and then it again comes back to, is that because that's just how Freund's offense works? Or is this because he doesn't trust Zevi or trust our wide receivers to actually be able to make those plays? And so we've just gone away from him. I don't know. I think for me, I can see it from both angles. I really can. I know that's a kind of a lame answer, and that's not going to be popular on the other side. But in the defense of Danny Freund, I don't think this is the personnel that he's used to having. And if you watch his teams at
South Dakota State.
he was at North Dakota State.
North
Yeah,
Dakota
yeah,
State,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah. The offense didn't look like this. It didn't look like this at all. I mean, you saw a lot more creativity. You also saw a lot of different bodies, and just the way our offensive line, I think our starters are good, but there's no depth. As soon as we have an injury or as soon as we have somebody that's dinged up, we're playing guys that really are a liability to the offense and are hurting the offense's ability to just run our basic plays. And so in Freund's defense, I think he's having to coach in a way that is very conservative. It's don't turn the ball over. It's run plays that we know we can execute, which probably isn't a huge chunk of the playbook. And I do think,
Mhm.
well, I've talked about the offensive line. I've talked about the wide receivers. I think some of that does fall back on Zevi and his inability to make the right reads all the time. And I think that part of why we don't throw those intermediate passes is because I don't know if he can complete them with any sort of consistency. So we've moved to let's complete anything under 5 yards or it's going to be 15 plus. And there's not a whole lot of in between. So that's
Right.
in his defense. In his, I don't know how to say this, in favor of finding a new offensive coordinator for next year. The problem I have is this. We continue to be so undisciplined on that side of the ball. We had to take a delay of game penalty on the first drive of a series. And then we took one later on 3rd and 10, which made it 3rd and
Right.
15. And that kind of stuff is just like, what are we doing?
Unacceptable. It's
Yeah.
unacceptable. And that's
Yeah.
both the that's primarily the offensive coordinator and or Jimmy Rogers if he's trying to deliver extra information. Like that's a coaching issue, right? So
Yeah, and like we've talked about it so many times, but we've said it before on this podcast is that the defense doesn't have those issues. So what's the X factor, right? And that's where I'm sitting there looking at Freund saying, okay, what gives here? We're in game that was 11
right.
and we still are having that kind of stuff happen. I struggle with that piece of it, and it's hard for me to kind of move past that. And then when you kind of factor in all the other things, you're kind of sitting there going, is this offense going to be any better next year? I don't know. I hope so. I hope he's
Yeah,
able to get
I
some of the
mean,
bodies he wants to get in, but
yeah, I think maybe in the personnel defense, like maybe we give it another year, but at the same
yeah.
time, it looks so stagnant at different moments. It's hard to like sit there and be like, oh, this is going to be better. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, when we got the ball with 6.5 minutes left, down by 4, I hoped we would go score, but I didn't really have much hope. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I didn't get the feeling that we were gonna go make it happen, and obviously we didn't. It was we got to about midfield, but we had to go for it on 4th down at least once to just get there, and it didn't exactly look pretty. So speaking of not pretty, the ugly, you kind of already touched on it, but yours is second half offense. I don't know if we can
unacceptable.
can we beat
Well,
the
how can
dead
we keep
horse more?
talking about this? Like, it's
Can we,
just, it's unacceptable. That's it. It's plain and simple. Because I'm exhausted just even talking about it, Drew. Like, it's frustrating. It's not just this game, it's many of the games,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
it's just, there's a pattern there. It's frustrating and it just needs to be said.
Yep.
So,
I go back. My ugly is a specific moment, and it's the Zevi pick 6.
yeah.
You watch that play, and it's everything that bad Zevi. Good. We've talked about good and bad Zevi. I think Nigel Burton originally coined that phrase, and then Ryan Leaf picked it up. But his feet weren't settled. He had time. He could have stayed in the pocket, but instead he steps up. And then you're like, okay, he steps up. He can run. He's got about 5 to 10 yards in front of him to run. But
Mhm.
instead he throws it. So you're thinking, okay, there must be somebody wide open that made him want to throw it instead of running the ball. And
Mhm.
he just throws it to a guy that was locked up on the whole route. I think it might have been Meredith. And he was just completely covered. And it was an easy interception and run back for a touchdown. And you can't, if you're going to play this ground and pound football, limit possessions, win games in low scoring affairs, you can't gift the other team 7 points like that. And just a really, really bad decision to throw that football. And yeah, I was as I was watching, again, I'm not usually this knee jerk of a fan, but I was sitting there saying, all right, let's see Potter on the next drive.
He needed to certainly get some more loft under that throw when he threw that pick 6, but it certainly seems like the difference maker in the game, but we have to still come back to the fact that we didn't score in the second half, really.
A few other things happening in college football. One of them that's always a constant is the coaching carousel. And a few big moves happened this week with Jim Mora being hired at Colorado State. So that means Washington State will play Jim Mora every single year in the new conference, which I am looking forward to because I think Jim Mora is just like he's a quintessential like villain opposing coach.
Yeah.
Especially after he called out Washington State this last offseason, talking about us tampering with his players and all of that stuff.
Well, so I have it on good word. I'm not going to say who, but my understanding is that, he was obviously trying to get to Washington State, but apparently he was not wanted because he has the purple and gold behind him.
Yeah, every time I listen to him, and it probably stems from his time in Seattle as a Seahawks coach, I'm just not impressed. Now he's had a ton of success at UConn, so
And
good for
UCLA
him.
had some success too.
Yeah, so good for him there. And I do think he'll probably turn that Colorado State program around in some way.
I do agree with
But
that
yeah,
too. I think he'll do relatively well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
And
Not
then we
national
had
championship levels, but he'll be all right.
no, no,
They'll
no,
be
no,
all right.
no. No, and in addition to a recent former WSU offensive coordinator and recent North Texas head coach, he just got hired at Oklahoma State. It was something that I actually told Drew, I think a week or two ago. I said, I bet you he'll end up there. It's a good fit. It's still small, but it's a bigger program. It's in a bigger conference. The offense that he has is going to explode there because that's what they're used to.
It's gonna be
And I
awesome.
think, yeah, he's basically going to run up. He's going to be like the former Oregon Ducks and the Baylor Bears back in the day and be able to run up some scores 70 to 21 or something like that, 70 to 14 and some. I think that's what he'll be able to do. He'll have some great success at OK State.
Yeah. Obviously he used Washington State as a stepping stone and North Texas as well, but I just love watching his offense. I mean,
It's
it's
fun.
so
It's
fun
dynamic.
to watch. Yeah, it's so great. And if we had any sort of defense while he was here, we could have been really good because we had, obviously Eric Morris calling plays and Cam Ward at quarterback. So yeah, I'm excited for that. It'll be fun to watch Oklahoma State football again. And I think, like you said, there's just going to be a bunch of high scoring, crazy games with him at the home there. So
Yeah, definitely. Get to the next coach with the biggest decision in America that's going to really turn programs to really look other directions. You have Lane Kiffin out of Ole Miss on Saturday morning expecting to make an announcement. What do you think his decision will be, Drew?
I think he stays. I just don't. That university, Ole Miss, is prepared to give him the world. They want to. They will give him anything he wants. And in my opinion, if he's smart, he sticks around there. I just don't know. What other program do you want to be at?
I mean,
I don't know.
LSU is the
Maybe.
next. Yeah,
Sure.
LSU, at least financially, for a number of
Sure.
reasons, is certainly a little bit more affluent program. But Ole Miss, their fans, and trust me, my friend works in the athletic department. I've been to 2 different games down at Ole Miss. And yeah, I think for them, this is their time. And he needs to recognize that and he needs to stay. And
Yeah.
I think between Dan Lanning basically saying, I'm going to be at Oregon forever, this needs to be Lane Kiffin's forever at this point. He's in a great spot. He's happy. He's healthier. He's got his ex-wife that at least came back to Mississippi to kind of be around with him for now. I mean, there's just something about him and his life and what has transpired there. You've built a successful program, the most 10-win seasons in a row. You're about to make the college football playoff and a potential national championship on the line. You can do this at Ole Miss. It's a great place and a great fit for him right now and for a long period of time.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if the NFL came calling, I mean, I don't know. I think he's got to stick it out where he's at.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
we'll see. All right, we turn our eyes now to the Beavers of Oregon State. They'll be in Pullman this Saturday to face the Cougs. It'll be senior night for Washington State. They'll be rocking the All Crimsons on a cold afternoon on the Palouse. What are your keys to victory here for the Cougs over the Beavs?
Certainly, I think the keys to victory is to be able to run the ball. I still think that's going to be a key to victory. I think our defense did really well last time, but run the ball and then have dynamic play calling. Open up the freaking playbook and stop just running it up the gut. If you have an injury with your starting center and your backup center is not ready, then you need to look at other options. So open up the playbook.
Yeah.
It's got to be now. There's no time.
My number one key is you have to protect Zevi in this game,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll be difficult with Brock being out. It sounds like he's out for this game, so we
Right.
will have to roll with the backup center here. So I just think if we can keep Zevi relatively clean, allow him to complete some passes down the field, I think we'll be able to run the ball okay against Oregon State, regardless of the injuries that we have. That's my biggest thing. If Zevi's getting hit like he was in the last time we played them, I think we could start to see it could look like deja vu all over again. So we got to protect Zevi, and then we gotta come out early and kill the Beavers' will right out the gate. I think their team is checked out. A lot of the team members on that team have sort of mailed it in for the season. They're ready for the transfer portal or whatever coach happens to end up in Corvallis in the offseason. But if we can score a couple times early, with the weather being so cold, with everything that they've faced this season, I think we can kind of kill their will in that way. But if we don't, and we allow them to hang around, and they start to think in their head, this is our chance to kind of spoil their season and knock them out of a bowl game, I think they'll play hard till the last whistle. And then the last thing, you sort of touched on it, is we have to shut down their run game like we did the last time we played them.
Yeah.
As long as we execute in that way, they're not going to score any more than 13 points at the most. So we got to do that, and we got to just like I said, hopefully kill their will early and be booking our flights to a bowl game at the end of the evening.
I think we should. I'll be excited to do that. So
Yeah, it should be fun. I'll be there in Martin Stadium, section 23. If anybody wants to come say hi, do it. Darren will be there as well. We'll be cheering. You'll hear us yelling from up there. And just if you have the opportunity, I know this team has maybe not had abundant success this season, but if you have the opportunity, if you're in Spokane, you're in the area, and you can get to the game, take the time on Saturday to come and just experience
support
Martin
your
Stadium.
Cougs.
Yes, experience Martin Stadium one more time this season, and celebrate the seniors, because obviously they've been through a lot between the different coaching changes and everything else. So I'll be there, and it should be a good time in Martin Stadium, as it always
Definitely.
is. As it
It
always
is.
is.
It's always like a party coming back home. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. We enjoy interacting with everyone on that. And until next time, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.